One possible worldview is where your image of people is that they're inherently selfish, cold, cruel, violent and brutal, lying and manipulating. And the world is this dangerous place where the first chance they get, people are going to lie and cheat and steal from you, or just outright attack and physically harm you if they think they can get away with it. Which means you can only be safe if you are stronger, more cunning, more ruthless than others. And it's dangerous to trust anyone. And being honest or fair, or to care what happens to others, is just dumb, because you're convinced no one is ever going to be kind to you. And if they are, it's just a pretense in order to trick and hurt you. I think it's completely understandable to have this kind of worldview if you were raised by people who hold some variant of it. I imagine a childhood with very strict, authoritarian parents can do that. You receive very little affection, if any, and you're constantly under the threat of harsh punishment. Being your natural, carefree child self is enough to get you cruelly attacked. So, in order to protect yourself, you very quickly learn to lie and to expect that people will be ruthless and they will hurt you. And you understand that you have to plan and pretend and manipulate in order to get what you want. At the same time, this kind of childhood, without receiving love or acceptance for who you truly are, is terribly damaging for self-esteem. The fact that you have to hide your feelings and your desires and dreams in order to avoid getting punished means not only that you tend to lose touch with them, and thus you are prevented from experiencing the pleasure of their satisfaction, but also it can create a deep loneliness, since it's difficult for others to see the real you when you hide. And because this hiding becomes a way of life early on, you lose awareness that you are doing it, which in adulthood makes it difficult to know that this is a big problem in your life. You find yourself caught living a life that you didn't choose because it was forced on you when you were too young to be able to protect yourself. This is a terribly lonely, frustrating life with a painful sense of emptiness and meaninglessness that neither money nor drugs or food or sex or power can soothe for long. I wish it becomes more known that people labeled as sociopaths, often people at the top of the hierarchy in today's society, are in reality suffering from the effects of this kind of childhood, so that they understand that the remedy to their suffering and the way to a fulfilling, satisfying, happy life is to reconnect with the feelings of the child they were, their true self, who is still living inside. I expect it will be difficult to reconnect, because this true self was hidden away under layers of protective behaviors that have since become so habitual, so automatic, and so much part of the internal landscape that even noticing them can be a major challenge. Still, I'm confident it can be done, because once we understand that they are there, we can help each other look for them. I think it's important to be aware that many other people have had horribly traumatic childhoods too, and many children are having them right now, such as those growing up in war-ravaged parts of the planet, and in other places where violence and exploitation and oppression are taking place, which seems to be pretty much everywhere. People everywhere in society are affected. Personally, I grew up with part of this worldview and part of others, and even though I suffered the same effects, I think it was to a lesser degree than what many people got. Looking back, I see that I tried to protect myself by trying to appear smart, because it helped for getting my mom's attention, and also it appeased my dad, who was prone to getting enraged and violent. Adopting this pretense increased the negative self-image I had already built. The belief I'm not good enough, that resulted from not getting enough attuned attention from my mom early on. If I had to pretend being smart, it meant I was not. I wasn't aware of these beliefs I had. Instead, I believed the opposite. I think because it helped me pretend. The resulting worldview sounded like this: most people are stupid, and they don't even realize that those stupid things they do cause damage to the planet, meaning they're intruding on my life, ruining things I could enjoy if only these idiots weren't there. This made me very angry, very bitter, and very anxious, because in hindsight, it's clear that this is what I believed of myself, having picked it up from my dad. And I tried very hard to hide from myself that this is how I saw myself, because admitting it, even to myself, brought up the fear of getting severely beaten, like had happened. This fear was an effective thought stopper, preventing me from focusing on the thought that I might not be as smart as I pretended, which was triggered every time I thought I had made a mistake or I was at risk of making one. I'm saying this to give an example of how extremely strong the defenses can be, that prevent us from reconnecting with our true self. It takes a lot of motivation to dare explore one's inner world when there's fear this intense to contend with. I'm reminded of the scene in Star Wars where Luke enters the cave where he'll face his greatest fear. It would have been so much more reassuring for Yoda to go in with him. Having someone by your side who you can trust is what's needed, I think. But trusting this person enough can already be extremely challenging if in your worldview it's not safe to trust anyone. As far as I am aware, my worldview has changed into one I find much more satisfying. And this is to see that people are basically the same everywhere. And everybody just wants to be happy, and we're all mostly benevolent, and it's possible to walk up to pretty much anyone on this planet, or elsewhere if we get there, and this will be someone who has the same type of goals and interests in life. Being happy, having fun, and sharing activities with friends and family, pursuing interests in, say, listening to music, painting or playing some instrument, or some physical activity like sailing or basketball, or maybe exploring history or nature or technology and building things, and doing some work that puts food on the table and gives a satisfying sense that you're at the same time doing something that's useful to others as well. Thank you for hearing me out. And again, what I want to help us move towards is a society where we help each other heal from anything we suffered in the past that is keeping us from enjoying life. Please let me know of any other worldviews you hold, or if you have any comments.